Test, test. Hey folks, we're live. It's Friday. Hope you've had a good week. Thought I'd get back to some game dev today. Didn't quite have the energy for DJing, but we'll make sure that's set up for next week. Let's check what's my schedule. What's next week looking at? No, can't do it next week. I'm not available next week, so it'd have to be the week after. Yeah, doing a lot of things. That's the thing when summer comes around. There's a lot of things going on. So yeah, no stream next Friday and no stream next Wednesday actually either. So yeah, it's gonna be after today's stream will be Monday and then the following Monday. So it's busy. I'll put a note in my Discord to make sure people are aware. But yeah, no stream on Wednesday or Friday next week. But I hope you've all had a good week, enjoying your Friday. Let's switch over to the main screen and we'll get into some game dev. Right, so we're running out of things to kind of build as the foundation of this game. Running out of foundation things now. Greetings, Beard Human. Greetings, Jeffrey. How are you? It's good to see you. Because you're doing good. Glad to hear. How's the house getting on? Happy finds again at the store last Wednesday. Nice. Yo, hey Lisa, how's it going? It's good to see you both in chat. I sell emotes. I'm going to have to do the command for that, aren't I? You have to think of some creative bot command for that, where it just comes up with something on the screen about selling emotes. Could be fun. I need to do more stuff with my bot. It's just kind of, I need to write down what I want to do with the bot and then do the things. You saw the new stuff in server. I think, did I see the new stuff? Let's have a look. No, that's me going live notifications, not that one. I probably saw the things. My memory is not particularly great. You replied already. Ah. Okay, it's a statement, not a question. Yes. Everything's a question as far as I'm concerned, because I never know what's right. Yes, but all that stuff was awesome, yeah. Yeah, you're very good at finding cool things. You have a nose. You have a nose for cool things. Now, I can try working on this cube again. Because this has been a sticking point. This is a hole in my skills to be able to build a brick wall around the cube. But I reckon I might be able to do something. Alternatively, the other things I need to do is create a second level, the ability to move on to another level. Now, I didn't want to do a second level until I had all the elements of level 1 sorted, so I had in its entirety one complete level with all the mechanics. But I might have to skip the one element of the building falling down to make some progress elsewhere. But I'll have a quick look at this cube. If it still causes me problems, I can move on to the method of Invalid overlay token. Is that the panda? Is an invalid overlay token now? Oh yes. That is, oh, it's the Capamon, the panda. I did see something in the Discord about that. Let's go into studio mode and switch to Capamon. Refresh. There we go. Yeah, for some reason it didn't load the URL properly. Okay, let's go back to main screen, take it out of studio mode. Awesome. Right, thank you for spotting that. The panda's not really doing a lot these days. I need to probably go into the settings because the original thing that made the panda was called Capamon, but the creator has since made a bigger thing and moved Capamon into it, and it's called something else now. And since doing that, it's not quite worked the same, and I've not bothered looking at how the settings are and all that. At the moment, it's mainly an animated GIF because I don't know if it even replies. So if I type in chat now, yeah, oh there we go, it does. So just wave, it says hello. So it's still doing something. Still waves at people when they first chat. And I think there is something like is that one of them? Yeah, it's got a few things in there. Like is that it? Or is it just feed? Or eats, is it? I think it might be eat. Yeah, it's pretty cute. I still want to make my own version. There's a few things I need to. Again, it's a hole in my skill set because I can do all the coding, I can do all the typing and stuff. It's an element of the interactivity I need to kind of work on. But once I've got that, I can make my own Capamon. And yeah, I just need to make some 2D sprites and animations, and I can have my own panda, my own animal, or my own little stream buddy, stream mascot doing its thing. But for now, Capamon's doing a good job. Like, I'd like to have like a little stream avatar thing down there that reacts in real time to music, for instance. If there's music playing like through the stream, actually dance and stuff, and things like that. So that'd be quite cool. And like dancing in time with the beat. So as the beat's going, it kind of moves its hands and dances rather than just say a slow movement despite how fast the music's going. But that's something to work on another time. I have a lot of things I need to work on. That is just one of many. Let's move my fan over a little bit. Let's put this over here. So hopefully it can't be heard on the stream. Just keeps me cool. Right, let's have a look at this cube. Let's have a look at this cube. Because I want to... Because I know these four corners. So I need to code... At the moment, I'll run the code. Oh yeah, that's what I was doing, wasn't I? The smoke. So I probably just need that smoke. I think I'm pretty happy with. So I think that happens, covers everything, swaps them over, falls down. So the important thing I was going to check as well is that it builds across the back there. So this smoke needs to be part of the cube. It's probably, where is it? Particle system 1 and 2. Let's make an empty, create an empty, put smoke. Go 1, 1, 1. One, one, one. Is that grey? And that's white. Go smoke dash grey. And go smoke dash white. Copy position, paste position, zero these out, move both of these into smoke. No. Undo. Right, zero these out, this out actually. So zero all these out. Make life a bit easier. Put that into there. Let's resize that. So if I then do that, does that scale it with it? No, it doesn't, does it? Okay, let's zero those again. So what it probably needs to be is a cube. Zero at the cube. Take off the mesh renderer. Delete the collider. Move it inside the cube. Delete that and then call that smoke. No, I do not want to do that. Delete. Rename to smoke. Turn off the mesh render. So why is that not rendering? Let's have a look. Smell broken it. Or does it only produce smoke within inside that cube? What's going on? It's working before. Okay, let's go back and why does that not work? Is that what we do? We have to put the cube as part of that. Hello, Circuit Crusher. How's it going? Good to see you. Hope you're having a good Friday. Okay, we have a smoking cube. So I'm hoping now that by resizing that, it resizes the cube. Now does that resize the smoke generation as well? Strange. Doing well. How are you? I'm pretty good myself. It's been a good week. It's been an awesome week at work. Got a lot of good stuff done. So I'm happy about that. Been to the gym a couple of times this week, so I'm feeling good. And it's Friday, so it's the weekend tomorrow. And we're doing some of my favourite activities, which is making silly games. I am happy. It's good to be happy. That water over there, what is that? Sparkling summer fruit water, very nice. What's this game about? So this game is me trying out how to make a game. I've never really made a proper game before. So this is me trying to make a game. We started off with just messing around, but it's moved to the point now where it's actually something viable. So the premise of this game is that you're an angry villager in a medieval setting, and you're unhappy with the lords of the manor, the people that own the land that you're living on, and to take it out you're throwing rocks at their house. And once you've thrown a rock at the house enough, the house falls down, you win. That's the basic idea of it. Now at the moment you're just an invisible force throwing rocks, but eventually you'll be using this medieval style trebuchet to throw it at the house. Nice. I'm glad you agree. I'm trying to work out getting smoke mechanics, so this is a feature I'm trying to work on. But if we play the game, you can kind of see a little bit of how it works. So you have a little target on the screen, and you can fire rocks or a projectile of your choosing. You can make a chair, for instance. Throw a chair at it. And as you can see, as you throw the object at the house, it cracks. And the idea is to make sure every single part of the house cracks. Currently there's 120 spots that need to crack. And once you've hit 120 out of 120, you complete the level. Now at the moment it's fairly easy. You just move the target around and just fire. But I want to change the mechanics a little bit, so the player is in charge of the power. So you can aim, but you have to like decide how much power you want to throw. And that then adds an element of skill. At the moment there's not really much skill to this. And to make a game fun, you want it to be skill based, really. I like the fact that you throw an object at the tree, it bounces off. That's a fun little thing. Doesn't gain you anything at the moment. But yeah, that's basically it. So it generates a crack on there. The idea being, once all the cracks have been hit, the smoke is spawned, which I'm working on, the smoke spawning, and then the building falls down. Here's a simulation I'm building for the building falling down. So I've got two mechanics I need to work on, the smoke generation and the building falling down mechanic. So once I've done that, I've got the full cycle of what I'd like the player to experience on the basic level. There you go. At the moment the house just disappears, but I want it to go smoke, collapse, well, smoke, disappear, building collapse. Because the collapsing building and the building you're hitting are two different things. So it's got to remove the house you've been hitting, replace it with a house that will collapse. It collapses and you see a pile of rubble and not just an empty field. But we're getting there. If we hit play again, house comes back. And at the moment that building disappears as well, which is not particularly what I wanted. Because the player's not hitting that over there. You can hit it, doesn't do anything. But I'm going to make more objects the player can throw at it. So I've only got a rock, a crate, a barrel and a chair at the moment. Would you animate that in Blender or something, or would you simulate it in a physics game? Looking to simulate it in-game physics. Because I'm thinking I'd like to make it universal, because I don't want to have to animate every single building. I want it to be procedurally animated in the game. So at the moment this wall here is procedurally built. I haven't built this wall, the game has built this wall. If I throw a barrel at it, they are individual bricks and they will fall down. So that wall does not exist until the game runs. So if I stop the game now, there's no wall there. So what I'm working on is this cube will sit over the building, and then the visibility will be switched on and off. But the cool thing so far is if I select the cube, resize it, make it a bit bigger. So if I make the cube bigger, then run the game. Let's wait for it to load. It makes a wall equal to the cube. Now there's some things that it's not quite right, like it's not quite equal to the cube in the sense that it builds the wall slightly left aligned there. Huggy, hey Becky, how's it going? Good to see you, it's been a while. Hope you're keeping well though. Yeah, the wall isn't quite building on the edge of the cube, but there's things to work out. The important thing is the wall is the same width of the cube, and I can fire things into it. I am. What game are you making? I'm making a silly game about hitting things, throwing things at buildings. So the idea being, this building here belongs to the lord of the land, and you're not very happy. You're a villager, you're not very happy with your lord of the land. Maybe they put taxes up, or maybe they've taken something away that the villagers wanted. So you're not happy, so you're throwing things out there, their house. And eventually, if you hit the house enough, it falls down. So it's just kind of like target practice a little bit. So run the game again without the wall in the way. So you see the wall's moved over there now. So you can throw things, it cracks the wall, keep throwing things at it. And eventually, once you've thrown enough stuff, the building falls down. But as I was just saying to Circuit Crusher, this is my first proper game I've ever made. I've made things, they're not really games. I've made things where you click on stuff, stuff happens. Your basic introductory to any form of coding or making stuff. You make a thing that does a thing, but it's not as in its entirety a game, if that makes sense. So this is a game. It has a purpose. It has a win objective. So any game, you need to be able to win it. There needs to be a point at which you say you have won the game. And this does. You hit this house 120 times uniquely, you win the game. Or at least that level. And I need to make more levels. So that's the thing again, with what I'm doing, I'm trying to make this as self-managing as possible. We silling today, aren't we? Silling. How's it going, Logeve? Or sillying? Me sillying? I'm making silly games. Oh, could you write some code to take the building model and then divide it into a bunch of chunks, like how the bricks are a bunch of chunks? Then you have a line where you check to see if there are any chunks remaining above that height, and you're trying to knock the building down. Instead of it cracks, it actually falls apart into pieces because the physics of the building chunks react to the projectile. Ooh. So write some code to take the building model. So I think somebody sent me a GitHub for a model slicer. I've looked at it. I've not actually fully understood how it works, but it allows the player to determine where the slices are. But that's allowing the player to determine. I don't know how to slice a model myself. If I spend some time dissecting that code, I might be able to see how that works. But what I'm aiming for is not to have to put too much work into slicing buildings individually. Like the idea being, I just wanted to be able to place a building, sit a cube over it, and then the code does the rest. Which it could be, if I do it right, the slicing thing would work. I need to understand it though, Circuit Crusher. Like, if I could work it out, how to insert the codes to say, well, take object. Oh, it makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. Yeah, it makes perfect sense what you're saying. I said I found the GitHub. Well, someone sent me a GitHub link to a tech demo, I suppose, like a mechanic demo, where you have a series of basic shapes on the screen, and then you click with your mouse, and it slices the object. It looks amazing. I don't know how it works. I'll probably have to dissect the code and go, okay, it's taking the angle of the click, putting a vertice through it, adding a texture either side of the vertice, because otherwise if you slice an object, it doesn't have a face. Does that make sense? If you take a cube, slice it in the middle, the bit you slice doesn't have a face. It's just hollow. Not even hollow, it doesn't exist. So somehow it's building a face at the same time as slicing it. You know, that's kind of like a step up from my skill level. And I never intended for the building to fall down in such a way anyway. I just would like it to fall down. Plus, I quite like procedurally building these brick walls as well. But it's something in the back of my mind that I wouldn't mind dynamically making something fall apart. But it's a good idea though, circuit crusher. It's just how you execute it. So I'm not entirely sure. Because yeah, at the moment, building pops. And it would look more realistic, I suppose, that the building you've been hitting falls down rather than a pile of unrelated bricks. I need to remove that. Well, that tower doesn't need to be there. It's there because I like the look of it. Where is the tower? It's inside the castle holder, isn't it? Oh, is there anything that's labelled castle, isn't it? So that's labelled castle. Yeah, that's fair enough. It's not important. But yeah, I'll have to study it. I think I could do that if it were 2D. I'm not sure how to approach splitting in 3D. Yeah. Now, it wouldn't be... Obviously, you got an extra dimension there. Like, in 2D, you're just drawing a line and then separating the sprite. Which still has its complexities. There's still geometrics involved. But 3D... Yeah, I don't know. So I do have a mechanic demo, a tech demo of how to make a slicing thing. And that might be the better way of doing it. But ultimately, this is me training myself in how to make games, generally speaking. So if I can learn how to make the individual things, like this smoke, I would like, rather than having to specifically move stuff around to make the smoke, I would like to say, oh, however big this cube is, make smoke that covers that cube. But as it is, the smoke is only coming out as a single cube inside this cube. And I would like it to be the span of the cube. So the scale, usually with 3D objects, you put a 3D object as a child of another object. You make the parent object bigger, the child scales with that. So if the parent object is 1 by 1 by 1, the child object is 1 by 1 by 1. You make the parent 2 by 2 by 2, the child becomes 2 by 2 by 2. However, particles, which is what I'm using to make the smoke, doesn't appear to scale. You have to scale the particle separately. So if I go into here and I make the particle wider, I can then shrink this. The particle stays the same. And because I'm using a white and a grey, unless I can put the white and the grey in the same particle generator. So again, I don't want to have to place a white particle generator and then a grey particle generator. I'd also want to place some smoke, and the smoke will come up as is as it was before. So this is me not understanding fully how particle generators scale. Again, maybe I don't place the particle generator, I place the cube, and then the code adds the particle generator inside during the gameplay, much like the bricks. So the bricks aren't there until the code runs. Maybe the particle generator shouldn't be there either. Could you write a script to set the size of the child to the size of the parent? Don't know much about Unity. Go.dev or Godot? I never know. I've heard people say Godot and Godot. Yes, you could actually. You could say sort of scale. People say different ways. That's fair. Yeah, yeah, quite easily. You could say, well, sort of particle generator scale X is equal to parent scale X, and it'll just go poof. So that's probably the way to do it. So I can place this with the particle generator inside it, as it is right now, and then on run I can put a small script inside this, and that will then resize it. So we could try that. Let's make this 1 by 1 by 1. The white is already 1 by 1 by 1. Make the cube is already 1 by 1 by 1, but the smoke, let's go 1 by 1 by 1. So that's the weird thing, that the that 3D objects scale in the world, particle generators don't. But I don't want that to be seen. Let's rename that to... Oh, I'll keep doing that. Delete. Rename the cube to smoke dash placeholder. So the placeholder will allow me to see where the smoke will be. And what I can do, as with this cube, because this cube has got a... Oh, it's using the reticle map, which I might as well use that. Where's my not models, not prefabs, materials? There we go. So that I want to have that material. So rather than making it invisible, render it, but with a semi-transparent material. So now I can then go to close this up. Actually, let's give us a tag. I found tags very useful in Unity, because you can grab. Oh, Circuit Crusher! Thank you very much for that follow on Twitch. Much appreciate that. And that message pops up because I get so many people trying to sell me things. So I say hello, follow me, and go, hey, check out my stuff. No. Unless you are a coder and you're here because you like coding or making games, then that's relevant. I'm not interested in buying. You had one yesterday. Oh wow. Yeah, they're trying to sell you graphics, as if this stream isn't awesome enough with my own graphics. In fact, I find it's mildly insulting that people will say, this needs revamping, let me sell you something that's lesser quality. Yes. It's like, this wall background is a paid for asset. I sell the emotes, yeah, basic AIR is like, you can tell the quality of it, go, well, that's just generated. You haven't sat there with a pen tool and a art program making it. You've gone, put it in face with blonde hair. And there is a level of skill to that, but not enough to make it worth a monetary tag. Speaking of tags, so add a new tag. New tag, and call this smoke. Save. So this makes life so much easier tagging stuff. Again, I don't know if this is the proper way of doing it, the right way. There might be a more efficient way. But by tagging objects with a certain label, in code I can just say everything tagged as smoke, do this. Or I could go all child objects. It just makes life easier. So I can now resize this smoke to whatever size I need it to be. Sounds like IDs in JavaScript. Yeah, I suppose it does actually. Yeah, where you just grab all button or grab all div or grab all everything that's labeled as that thing. Or if it's a singular object with that label, you have it. You don't have to specify where it is. You just go, oh, give me a handle on this thing. You have it. It's fantastic. So tags are useful things. So let's... I love this tune. I'm not sure if you can hear it through the stream or not. See, an artist called Organ Donors, and they do proper kind of hard, clubby kind of stuff with a bit of tongue-in-cheek, a bit of silliness added to it. Right, so that spans about the same width of that. I could probably do it being lower down because I don't want it floating. Right. Right, so we do that. We've placed that. So the idea being that all I have to do is make a square, a block, the width of what I want it to be, and then when I run the game does things for me. So at the moment, the smoke's not doing a great deal, which is what we expected. So if we come out of that, we'll make a script now. Scripts. Let's make a new... So I'm doing window capture, you can't see me selecting my options, but I'm going create new C# script. And it's calling it call it Castle Smoke. Oh, so opening up the editor. Right, close that for a moment. How long have you been using Unity? Probably just this year. Yeah, start of this year. So about 6-7 months. Like, I've looked at it, I've installed it. Went, I don't really know, but I've done some video tutorials to get kind of give me an idea, and the rest of it I've learned as I went. Like, I wonder how you do that. Read some forums, go, that's how you do that, and then go and do it. Cool. Did you have any experience C# before that? Yes. My job uses C#. So my day-to-day job is a database administrator, server manager kind of stuff. And I've done like a course in C#, so I've got qualifications in C#. But it's all relatively boring in the sense of sort of take input from user, sort of change database entry, sort of display this on screen. So all the fundamentals of C# I already got. How to affect Unity is where my skill needs to improve, because I know the logic for C#, but it's how it interacts with Unity specifically I'm learning. So it's been a great advantage. Another reason why I've chosen Unity, because I can use my skills and experience in a language already, and I don't have to relearn that part of it. So I'm happy about that. Because I did look at Unreal, but Unreal initially uses C++, and my knowledge of C++ is very minimal. Like, I know a little bit, I can do tiny bits of it, but I know JavaScript, I know C#, I know Python, I know Visual Basic, I know transactional SQL. So I've got a few good coding fundamentals. Using game engines, not so much. So I definitely want to learn more. I'm always interested in learning more. Godot also has functionality with C#, pretty sure, but base language is pretty much a mix of Python and JavaScript. Aha. So there's someone trying to post a link there. Main Fritz, if you're not a bot, we do not allow links here. If you are a bot, you can kindly remove yourself. If not, I'll do so shortly. But yeah, Godot. I think Godot has added C# as a more recent feature. Because it wasn't something it was shipped with. But I know because of how popular Unity is and how many people know C# through Unity, it's been something they've thought, well, this needs to be scriptable in Godot to boost its usability. But so it's got like a proprietary language, but mostly based on Python and JavaScript. Let's go. What should we go for now? Let's do a timeout on 5 minutes. Right, so script castle smoke. Let's try castle smoke into the smoke. Yeah, I'm learning more Python. My Python knowledge is still fairly minimal, but thankfully Python's an easy language to get into. So I've been learning more Python. I've actually been making a Python project for work recently, which has been interesting. We've been using Raspberry Pis. If you're not familiar, Raspberry Pi is a single board computer, the size slightly bigger than a credit card. But been utilizing those in the business as micro terminals and writing small Python scripts to interact with the wider database. Been quite fun. And yeah, JavaScript I did as part of my my qualification as well. So I did JavaScript, a little bit of JavaScript, a little bit of what was it? See, this is how much I've used it. I can't remember what it's called. But it's interacting with web stuff like jQueries. That's it. JavaScript, jQueries, and all the kind of interactive kind of stuff that JavaScript gets used for. I know a bit of Node.js, which is kind of a server JavaScript stuff. And that was quite fun to work with originally. But I did that years ago before I even did any qualifications. Right, we have the castle script attached to the object. Let's open it. Castle smoke script. Open it into Visual Studio. So I use Visual Studio for my day-to-day work. So again, brilliant. I'm in a familiar environment. I know exactly how this software works. And all this is familiar. This is just general. The only thing that's different is mono behavior. Because we used Microsoft.NET. So we don't use mono behavior. And of course I don't import the Unity engine. So on start is what we need. We don't need update. So we can delete update. And what I tend to like to do, I don't like putting code straight into a called function like that. I like to sort of write it as a separate thing. So we'll go. Should we make it private? Public. We'll go private for now. At least we can expand it. Private void. So we can give it names then. We can give a name to what the code's actually doing. So resize smoke to parents. Okay, resize smoke to parents. Then what we do, we need to engage the clipboard. So the only thing that gets me with Visual Studio is that you have to engage the clipboard. Like if you haven't copied anything, it doesn't engage the clipboard until you copy for the first time. Weird. So yeah, so we know now when it starts, it runs this. We know what's that? Resize the smoke to parent. Awesome. So resize smoke to parent. So we need to get all of the smoke objects, and we need to get the parent object. So we need the size of the parent object. So scale of the parent object. So let's go. Voids are like function. Yes. So so in C#, all functions are function. Well, yeah, so it's the easiest way to explain it. So this is a function here, and you know the first part, private, is either a private or it's a public. Private means it's only accessible inside here. Public means I can call it from anywhere else. The void part is the return value type. So if it was a private string or private integer, it will be a function that returns a string, a function that returns an integer. So this is a void. Void means no return. This function has no return value. So it's a private function, returns nothing, and it's called resize smoke to parent. So yeah, it's automatically assumes it's a function. Because if I want to make if I went up here, let's do this anew. If I want to make a variable that's accessible from anywhere, I'll do a public. So it'll be a public integer, public int, and call it scale. Scale x, and go public integer scale y, public integer scale z. So because there's no brackets after it, it's not a function, it's a variable. So by putting the brackets after it and then putting the wiggly brackets, it says okay, this is a function and what is inside of these two brackets is the function. So a little bit like JavaScript. So you put the wiggly brackets to say this is a function. Now if I wanted to pass something to this function, like every time it's run it needs a variable, a parameter, I'll put it in here. So I go like int test. So that means this needs an integer to run it. So very much like JavaScript. So if you know JavaScript, C# is very so close that I reckon you could probably jump from JavaScript into C#. But we don't need a parameter in there, so we remove that and we'll take it out there. What I will do is do another private void. So what should we call this? Call it log parent scale. And I'll run this before the resize smoke. So log parent scale, as you might be able to guess, will log the scale of the parent and drop it into these three variables. So we can go scale x is equal to this dot transform dot where is it? Local, is it local scale, local scale? Scale transform object relative to the game object's parent. In this instance, yes, local scale dot x. Nope. What is it not like? Cannot also float type mismatch. So they're not integers because the scale can be a decimal. It can't be an integer. It has to be a floating point number or a float. Change these all to floats. Not a flat, a float. Flare, not sure what a flare is, but floating point numbers, there we go. So scale x equals this being this object, dot transform the 3D form of the object. So the scale, the position and the rotation are all transforms. So see this transform dot local scale, so the scale it is in comparison to its surroundings, dot x, specifically the x scale. And we'll do the same again. Scale y equals this dot transform dot local scale dot y, and scale z equals this dot transform dot local scale dot z. And I think I can drop the word this. Yeah. So Visual Studios is telling me, well, you don't need the word this because if it lets you specify, it will assume it's the object you're running. So because we're running this on the parent object, it will automatically assume you're talking about it. So it automatically assumes the this dot. So there you go, we're logging the scale of the parent. Now we want to resize all the objects inside. Let's go save. So now we need a object smoke. Is that one? Equals Oh, can't remember. I'm not sure if that's the right way of doing it, but what we can do, we can look at some code I've already written. Is there anything in here I can use? No, not there. It's in rock launch maybe. Ah, no, that's comparison. I do know I've got some code. There we go. Let's just copy that. Actually, let's copy that entire function. That's got a few things we need in it. Paste that down there. So it's game object. So rather than square, it's smoke we need. And rather than hit square, it's smoke. Okay, so what this is doing, it's making a variable of game objects. So all the objects in the game are game objects, unsurprisingly. So it's making making an array of game objects. An array is a collection. So think of you take a load of squares and you place all the squares next to each other. That'll be an array of squares, and you can then put all those inside a box. And that is the game object array there, and we've called it smoke. So we have a box called smoke that holds many game objects, and we've told it to fill that box with all game objects labeled smoke. So that's why we've tagged it as smoke. So just say find everything called smoke, put it in there. Next thing we want to do is cycle around the game objects in smoke. So copying from that previous one, so we go for each. So for each game object, we'll call it S as well, in smoke. So for each game object, which we'll refer to as S in the collection called smoke, we will take their transforms. So we want to transform. Is it a transform? It's going to be just game objects, wouldn't it? So it'll be S dot transform dot global scale of objects read only. Yeah, it's going to have to be local scale dot x equals scale x. Now why can't we do that? Cannot modify because it's not a variable. Why can't we modify it? So get set. So get a set. Do we set? Must be a set. So this is where I'm still not fully. Equals a new vector 3. Ah, okay, that is. Took a moment to remember that. So we give the local scale a new vector, but we make the new vector have the values of scale x, scale, no, not application, scale y, and scale z. So that will cycle around in a loop, in a for each loop. Every object called smoke, set it to that scale. And we can delete this now because that was our example we borrowed from the squares. So let's save that. Come out here. Now if I select the smoke parent, on the right hand side you can now see the public variables. So this is the cool thing about Unity. If you make a variable public, you can see it here and you can actually change it in real time. Like while the game's running, I can just resize this, resize things, for instance. Not in this particular case because it won't update, but if this was tied to any in-game actions, I can change them on the fly, which is pretty cool. So we run the game now. See what happens. Ah, there we go. The smoke is now the same width as that cube. It's not quite as high though. I'm not sure what we need to do to make the height go up. As you can see up here, that scale is now happily that smoke needs to be covering the building a bit more so it's not such a jarring yeah, it seems a little bit strange with stretched particles. Is that how it looked before? So do that, take the grey, duplicate it and pull it out of there. Interesting, it's the same size as the now maybe it's a setting in here. Let's go into the shapes. It's probably because the particles themselves are round. You could take the width of the cube, the width of the particle generator, duplicate the particle generator that equal spaces to cover the cube. Could do actually. That's effectively what this brick thing's doing. It's just placing many bricks So it could literally be a spawner and just go, okay, spawn for the width of it. And it'll make it probably a bit more realistic looking if it's a random generated particle generator. Each one will be generating at different points. So we could try that. Could give that a go. In which case, we don't actually need these in there. We just need them as a... Or do we? No, because the bricks don't exist in there, so we could make them prefabs. A prefab is a ready-to-use template item. So we can make these the grey and the white prefabs, and then the prefab will be loaded into the smoke as a variable. So we could try that. Because that'll stop it from being stretched, as you say. Let's delete that one. Interestingly, oh, because the game's still running, that's why. So why is it still running? Right, delete that. Let's go to prefabs. Because as it is there, I don't know. It still needs to be higher. Smoke needs to rise a bit higher. Maybe it's the is it the duration? Do they start lifetime, speed, start speed, start rotation? Simulation speed, simulation space local. Ah, we're in world, maybe that. Increase the start lifetime. Ah, there we go. Good spot there, Circuit Crusher. That's what you needed. So you want it to simulate in the world really rather than its local anyway. So that's... We do that for the white as well. Make that generate into the world and not... Although we don't want the... The idea being the white... The white is a bit more sparse. I think I've done that anyway. So let's go... Let's just play that as it is, see if it's the right height. So it's going a bit higher. The density hopefully will be better with the spacing being placed. So what we should probably do then, what I'm going to do is rename this as smoke holder. So it's called smoke holder. We'll keep the smoke placeholder in there, but we'll make another empty. And call the empty smoke put these two in there. So this means they become one object, and then I'll make the smoke a prefab, put it down here. So we drag it down here, it becomes a prefab. I can then delete it from here. So that's been deleted, there's no smoke, but if we go to the code now, and up here, we'll put it at the top, we go public, oops, public game object, smoke object, save that, go back here, over to reload everything, and now we have a smoke object space, so we can drag that into smoke object. So the smoke is now a variable. We've turned the smoke into a variable which we can then call as we want. So it's not a permanent feature, it's something we call on, and that allows us to place it wherever we want, such as the bricks. So the bricks in this cube here are called object. Called object, like a called function. Now the smoke is a called object in this one. So now I need to change the code, because we don't want it to resize the smoke. So what we'll do, I will comment this out, keep it in here for now, but we'll comment it. Comment that out. So it's happy now. So we're still pulling. Again, another reason to split out the code, we're still pulling the scale without having to mess around too much. So that bit's still happening. What we now need to do is, now we have the scale, we need to determine how many smoke objects we need. Now, we can do it by, because they're 1 by 1s, so it makes it very easy that the smoke object is 1 by 1 by 1. So all we need to do is find out how many 1s will fit in to each scale. So if x is 20, that is 20 1s will fit into an x, and then we need to place them at intervals of 1 to then fill it. And that is what is in the is it in Castle Crumble? There we go. So I've already got code that does that. So we've got a for loop here. So count x is how many blocks is needed. So this is doing pretty much, this is the code, so I could reuse this code quite happily. Now the count x is there you go. So width is, we're using lossy scale here, but we've already taken this bit previously, so probably just want we don't need to divide the bricks size, so it's going to be just basically ceiling. So math f dot ceiling means if it's 20.2, make it 21. If it's 20.9, make it 21. If it's 20.1, make it 21. You see what I mean? It moves it up to the next number. It rounds it up to the next number. So let's copy those floats over from in here. They don't need to be public, so we can keep these ones private. And then let's go back to that one. Let's copy this bit of code. Should we put it into here? Put it into here. And we'll replace these variables in here with the scale sizes, and this will determine how many will be needed to fill that space. Like sort of Visual Studios sends you reminders down here, goes, just to let you know, you've got some variables you don't actually use. Thank you, Visual Studio. I've not got around to that bit yet. They graze it out. They go, well, these aren't used. I'll grey them out for you. But we've got the counts of how many squares will fill that space now. But typically, the Y is not going to be higher. I'm not going to be stacking smoke. So the Y becomes an unnecessary feature. And to a certain extent, so does the Z. So I won't code in those for now. But we'll keep the values. So we only really want this one. This for loop for the X's. We'll copy that. So place it underneath. So private void, because we're not returning a value. Generate smoke placement. Okay, we've got a function called generate smoke placement. Let's just put the for loop in there for now. And we'll call it here. So it gets called in the start. Got to go. Maybe I'll be able to pop in later for it. Won't be on for too much longer. Circuit Crusher, probably another few more minutes. So I'm just going to work out this loop and I'll probably get off the stream anyway. But thank you for popping in though. It's been a good chat. You've given me some good ideas and helped me out. Much appreciate other game developers popping in and having a talk and exchanging ideas. So thank you. Hope you have a good rest. And I try to do game dev every Friday, but next Friday I can't. Maybe the Friday after that. But yep, keep an eye on the go live and you'll know what I'm up to. Yeah, thank you for dropping in. I will see you next time. Right, so we don't need to transform the scale. Have a nice day, thank you. You too. So let's have a look. Initiate the object. Now the object is not brick in this instance, the object is smoke object. Let's copy it and put it down here. So we're generating a smoke object. v3 is the new vector 3. So we could probably do with vector 3 a public one. Oh, it's probably a bit higher up in the function, isn't it? Oh yeah, vector 3. Let's copy that in there. You make it a local variable, we don't need it for anything else. Vector 3, that's covered. We don't need a scale. Because it is just 1 by 1 by 1. So we don't need those variables. Don't need to debug anything because we're happy. And square in this case is another game object, so we'll copy that. Rather than square, we'll just call it SMK, SMOK. Call it SMK, and then SMK. Do we need to rescale it? We don't. Don't even need to scale it. Go with that. We don't need to count the squares either. So is that everything we need to do here? So you've got the v3 smoke for x equals 0. So x is less than count. No, that's not quite right, is it? X. So this I've not quite worked it out yet. So scale is fine. We just need the positioning. Go back to Castle Crumble. There we go. So we do need this bit. So X times. So it is X. But it's also with bottom left. So we do need to have the bottom left. Let's make her get corners. We don't need all of this, so drop that in there. And we only need bottom left. And bottom left we need is a public. Whack that up here. I suppose we'll grab the other areas of that as well. So they actually have values, and then let's put the float in there. So rather than brick, we don't need brick in there, so remove that. We don't need an offset. We can take brackets around that, and we don't need that offset either. So it's just X plus bottom left. And rather than X in there, it is that. And then it's going to be bottom left dot Y and bottom left dot Z. Suppose we don't need to do anything with scale. We can probably remove the angle, the handle there. We do need to get corners. So let's put it in there. So log scale, get corners. Save that. Go back to game and see if that works. That's not done much. Go back to the codes. What's going on? So smart object at that position. Generate smoke placement. Let's go back then. What are we missing? What are we missing? So it's not picked up the bottom left. So where's the smoke gone? There's no smoke generated. What's that? Is that a player controller? Or vent system? Interesting. Oh yeah, of course we have the that in there. Don't need that anymore. Found a better way, but ooh, comes nicely to the end of that music. So why is it not generating? Why is it not even finding the corners? Get corners. Start. Look there. Get corners. Game object. Game object. It's not rendered. It is rendered, isn't it? It is rendered. We are rendering it. It does. Oh no, it doesn't have a renderer. Oh, it does. No, it does not. Ah. Right. Yes. Can't do it because there's no renderer. Gotcha. So what needs to happen then? Is this needs to come out of here. And rather than having smoke in there, let's put smoke into here. No, we don't. Where's the code? Scripts. Castle smoke needs to go into there. Smoke holder can then be deleted. Rename that to smoke holder. And then drag smoke into here. Now it has a renderer. Awesome. Okay. Now it should work. There we go, look at that. All the smoke clones have been made. So what we'll do, we'll hide the renderer so it's not actually seen. But it is there. So it looks a little bit more randomized. Not perfect. So what we'll do then is if we turn off the mesh renderer, but it still generate the smoke. Because mesh renderer is there. Yes, okay. Cool. That works. We like that. We like that. Oops, stop. Stop what you're doing. Actually, what we can do is probably change the texture material to unseen. So it's there, it's a selectable object. It's completely unseen. So the render is still there. Now rather than making it a start, probably want it to be called. So we'll change the code now. Because we did all this. Delete that now, don't need that. Delete that, don't need that. What we can do is make a public void called start smoke and put all that in start smoke and remove the start. Save that. So it will then call start smoke from elsewhere. And we want that when the spawn crumble, so reset all squares, castle fall. So we need to put smoke into here. Castle holder, play again. So we need another public game object. Castle smoke. And yeah, castle smoke, and we'll make a castle smoke. Castle smoke CS is equal to castle smoke dot get component castle smoke brackets. Awesome. And CS dot start smoke. Save that. And then we go, where is it? Score holder? There you go. Put the castle smoke into the score holder. Let's save that. And let's have a quick, we can just about see it still. Probably need to make it even more transparent. Probably need to say the object doesn't cast a shadow for starters. We can do that in a moment. What I could do in different to dragging the castle smoke in as a callable object is give it a label, and then I can have multiple castle smoke generators, and then go through them all and activate them all. It doesn't matter where they are, it will just run them. Ooh, a bit of lag there. Bit of lag. Is it forever making smoke clearance? It is. I think it's generating too much smoke. It's going out of hand. It's going to crash the game. Why is it still generating smoke? There's too much smoke, damn it. Pause. Pause. Where did we go wrong? It was fine before. Is it? Ah. Is it because it is... Blimey, how much smoke have I made? Smoke holder. Is it because the code... Basically, I wanted to do it in a sequence, and that sequence only happens once, but it's doing it every castle fall. What's castle fall called? It's checking if it's all hit. Yeah. Castle fall, check win. Where's check win? Every update it checks if it's won. So I need a variable that says smoke has been. So if all hit win is true, else. So this is where win is true, not to do anything else again. So let's stop the game. I'll put it in and then we'll end the stream. I don't want to go through all that again. So if win yes no, else do that. So it's already true. Actually, for now, let's do this. Let's do this. If not, no, of course, exclamation win. If not win, then set win to true, and then it would only do it once. But only if they're all hit. And then it's the pushing of the button will reset the win condition back to false. So check win, reset score. Yeah, win false, reset score, win false. Awesome, that's all there. We covered. So the duration needs to be a set saturation anyway on the smoke. Prefabs. So I don't want it to loop. So we're going to play. Yeah, seems alright. Particle speed range, simulate layers, nothing. And we'll turn the looping off on this as well. That's reasonable. Right, we'll do one more test. One more test and we're upstream up them. We do want the smoke holder to be a bit more transparent though. Mesh renderer, cast shadows, off. Receive shadows, off. Light probes, blend probes, off. Off. Material unseen. So it's still visible. Still a little bit visible. So it's not quite invisible enough. Let's go to materials. Tiling. UV. Reflections, no oh. Okay. None of those either. Transparent 3000. Make it 4000. Make it more transparent. No, 3000 is top. No, I did not like that. Okay. Transparent. Transparency is 0. Makes no difference which, might as well go for 0 values. Interesting. That looks a bit more metallic as a bit more transparent as metallic. But still not transparent enough apparently. Still visible. Standard shader, GUI shader. Sprite shader. Ah, that looks a bit more invisible to me. That's better. Needs to be completely invisible. Right, let's save that. Give it a quick play, change projectile to create, because that's a bit more chunky. And see if the smoke comes up without generating forever. And then we'll wrap the stream up. wonder if I put like a little countdown timer in the top corner of how long it takes. Whether it would be considered a speed running type game. Probably do like at least rewards for completing in under a certain time. Oh, we're back to this again. Where is it? It's always the one somewhere. Always the one that I keep missing. Is it centre there? Yay! Boom! Level complete. Now, it needs to kind of make the cracks uninteractive because they're still there now. So you replace, yeah. So that's one thing that it was doing. It was constantly setting the cracks to null. It's fair enough. That's something we can deal with next stream. Let's save that and come out of it. And we'll have a look at that next time. So let's close out of here. But we made some progress today. Made some progress. We've got a smoke generation. Probably need to tweak the timings. So it doesn't hide the castle straight away. Smoke, hide castle, replace, then smoke stops, and then building falls. Or you can probably at least see the building falling through the smoke. But yeah, that's to do with timings at that point. So we're getting there. We're getting there. And the idea being, as I said before, I want this game to be as easy to generate levels as possible. I don't want to have to code every single level. I just want to place fun things on the map and just have them work. I basically want to make my own level editor. That's kind of where I'm going with this. If I can do that, if I can work out how to generate stuff as a level editor, rather than having to code every single level, means I've got the skills to make my own level editors for my own games in the future, which is where I'm going. I've always been a fan of level editors in games. Make your own game. Here's all the assets. Put a thing here, put a thing there. So if I can make my own level editor for my own games, and I can make my levels, makes life so much easier. But all this is kind of leading towards that. Well, thank you for joining today. I'm so happy I managed to get back into a game dev stream. As I said, next Friday, unfortunately, we'll not be able to do a stream. But the Friday after that, certainly. And I will try and book in a DJ stream at some point. I still need to sort my music out. Until my music collection is where I want it to be, I don't feel comfortable streaming because I'm just streaming the same music over and over when I DJ, and it's boring for me, so I'm sorry it's boring for you. I want to be nice and fresh. But thank you for joining today. I'll be back on Monday with Stardew Valley with the gang, Jeffrey, Lisa and Nix. So yeah, I'll see you there. Hope you have a good weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Friday and see you Monday. Hope you have a good night. Good night.